Good morning to everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Uh,
sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir, till now, 69 participants have joined. We have 194 approved candidates. So definitely in this chilly wintry morning, everybody is taking their due time, I guess.
A very good morning to everyone. It's a great pleasure to us. So many participants have participated in this program. Tanmay
Yes, sir.
Babu,
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
good morning. How are you?
Okay, sir. Fine.
Let us start.
Okay. So, sir, with your permission, can I start?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You start.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Abhik Kumar Mukherjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration, the University of Burdwan. I'm the coordinator of this Atal Academy sponsored 5 days advanced faculty development program on emerging financial management and accounting techniques organized by the Department of Business Administration, the University of Burdwan. Honestly, today I'm overwhelmed to have you all in this virtual platform. However, it would definitely have been wonderful had we got the opportunity to host you all in the campus of our university. As during the present pandemic, we do not have that possibility. We would love to present before you a short video of the campus of the University of Burdwan. My screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the confirmation. This is the Rajbati campus, the administrative headquarters of the university. And this is the Golabbagh campus, which happens to be the academic campus of the university. The lush green campus can be seen, the university gate, where you can see the university road, the Directorate of Distance Education, and the entrance gate, one of the entrance gates to the academic campus. And this is our department's building. This is the business administration building, which all of you can see. This is the newly opened Golden Jubilee building, which also hosts a number of administrative offices. This is another glimpse of the lush green and very nature-friendly university academic campus. On the right-hand side, we can see the central library of the university. And this is the distance education building of the university. And this gives an aerial view of another view of the campus. Okay, thank you, everybody. Now, definitely, we would love to have you all in our university campus once the situation normalizes. Now, I take the opportunity to invite the convener of this faculty development program, Professor Tanmay Dasgupta, Head, Department of Business Administration, the University of Burdwan, to deliver the welcome address. Professor Dasgupta, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee. Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you all here on this online platform on the occasion of the 5-day faculty development program on emerging financial management and accounting techniques advanced, which has been sponsored by AICTE Training and Learning organized by the Department of Business Administration of the University of Burdwan during January 17 to 21, 2022. We are excited to have you all this FDB. On behalf of all the members of our department, I would like to extend a special welcome to our respected Vice Chancellor, Professor Nimai Chandra Saha, patron of this program. We couldn't have pulled off the curtain for this grand event and made today a reality without the constant inspiration and support by our Vice Chancellor. I welcome you, sir, in this session. I would like to welcome our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ashish Kumar Panigrahi, one of the patrons of this program, who has always been instrumental in encouraging such types of academic events. I welcome you, sir, in this session. Now, we are delighted to have with us today two other patrons of the program, Professor Pavitra Chakraborty, Honorable Dean, Faculty Council of Science, the University of Burdwan, and Professor Raman Kumar Shah, Honorable Dean, Faculty Council of Arts, Commerce, Law, etc., who have always protracted their hands of cooperation to undertake various academic and administrative activities on day-to-day basis. This FDP is also such an activity that has received full patronage from the Deans, Professor Chakraborty, though Professor Shaw today has not been able to participate in this program due to some other preoccupation. I welcome Professor Chakraborty warmly in this session. Next, a hearty welcome to Professor Ramaprasad Banerjee, who has always been a source of inspiration and encouragement to us. It is my pleasure to welcome all the distinguished resource persons in different sessions of this faculty development program. Next, I would like to welcome all the faculty members and the non-teaching staff of the Department of Business Administration and Department of Business Administration Human Resource, who, being the members of the organizing committee, have stretched all out supports and put forth their best efforts in executing all relevant in making this event a success. I feel extremely happy to heartily welcome those for whom this event has been organized, that is the participants. We know that a huge number of faculty members and research scholars from various institutes, colleges, universities have registered their names for participation in this program. Dear participants, I warmly welcome you all. And on behalf of the organizing committee, wish you pleasing participation in all the technical sessions. One welcome to the heads of different departments of our university. I also welcome our beloved students who have directly or indirectly contributed in making this program a success. Lastly, I don't want to miss the opportunity to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Obhik Kumar Mukherjee, who, on behalf of our department, has taken all the troubles from the forefront as the program coordinator, and also Mrs. Digital Humming, the technical support partner of the event. Finally, I thank you all for joining us. Now, I would request Professor Nimai Chandra Shah, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, to grace this occasion and say a few words. Sir, please.
Thank you, Professor Tanmay Dasgupta. Good morning, everyone. Professor Ashish Kumar Panigrahi, Pro Vice Chancellor of the University. Professor Ramaprasad Banerjee, distinguished academician. Professor Tanmay Dasgupta, convener of the program. Dr. Obhik Kumar Mukherjee, coordinator of the program. Esteemed participants of this faculty development platform from different parts of West Bengal and the country as well. Distinguished guests, research scholars, fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to speak at the occasion in the inaugural ceremony of AICT Training and Learning Academy sponsored 5 days online faculty development program on emerging financial management and accounting techniques. Advanced, organized by the Department of Business Administration, the University of Burdwan. I am more than happy to be present here this virtual platform before a galaxy of eminent teachers and researchers. At the onset, I must thank all the members of the Department of Business Administration, especially Professor Tanmay Dasgupta, convener of the program, and Dr. Abhi Kumar Mukherjee, coordinator of the program, for considering me to convey inaugural address of this faculty development program. The University of Burdwan, established in the year 1960, is the second oldest and largest university of the state of West Bengal. This is a state university which has been continually inspiring eager learners and smoothens their learning in all possible ways. It has been exerting utmost efforts to enhance the quality of education and always encourages the teachers to learn more in order to cope with the latest developments in their respective fields of the study, since it's the teacher that makes the difference and not the classroom, as wisely said by Sir Michael Andrew Breeze Morpargo, the famous English author, poet, and playwright. In the inaugural address, I uttered that the prime duty of the teachers is to build new younger citizens for the sake of the country. As the student body is continually changing and teaching learning is a continuous process, so skill of the young teachers needs to be infused under the guidance of the teacher educators who are none but vastly experienced educational professionals with the immense prolific knowledge and wisdom. In your case, the present Advanced Faculty Development Program has been conducted by the Department of Business Administration of our university to acquaint in-service teachers like you with new skills, methods, and processes required to improve your performance on your jobs and to review, reinforce, and upgrade your existing knowledge and skills on the particular frontier field, emerging financial management and accounting techniques advanced. It is imperative to mention that a plethora of eminent teachers and personalities who are the real teacher educators will try their level best to share with you their knowledge, experience, wisdom, and authoritative views to crystallize your knowledge with a bundle of fresh monolithic thoughts based upon their professional practices. These higher educational professionals who will act as the resource person in this faculty development program will preach their voluminous and bottomless knowledge and experience in different disciplines related to emerging financial management and accounting techniques to train you, the junior teachers, with their scientific and technological encyclopedic contents in highly monolithic classic lucid languages intermingled with their deep personal styles, characteristic charismas, and innate masteries, following the legacy of education. The AICT's Auto scheme will pave and strengthen further steps to such upliftment for the teacher learners and research scholars. A teacher can be a successful one if the learning process of the teacher continues, especially in modern time. The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles but to irrigate deserts. This is the statement actually made by C.S. Lewis. This means that a teacher's duty is to prepare the minds for proper learning. Towards this direction, the University of Burdwan makes successful amalgamation of capable faculties, technology, curriculum, and diverse cultural environment in order to prepare the young minds for proper learning and to equip its students to face the world outside. Under AICT Training and Learning Academy, this elementary faculty development program on emerging financial management and accounting techniques has wisely accumulated some significantly emphasized issues in the areas such as behavioral finance, emotional finance, various emerging dimensions in corporate financial reporting, and quantitative analysis of financial data. Your upgraded quality of research will automatically influence the students positively and will certainly arouse their learning curiosity, which in turn will enhance their potential to prove the capability in the practical world. Remember the precious quote by Aristotle: those who know do, those that understand teach. During the challenging time when most of the academic activities have become virtual, the Department of Business Administration has taken a step towards organizing this online faculty development program to empower the teachers and scholars with contemporary knowledge in the field of finance. Albert Einstein once said that, quote, I never teach my pupils, I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they can learn, unquote. The efforts like conducting and learning from these faculty development programs are big opportunities towards creating that condition. This department, which began its journey in the year 1983, offers two programs, Masters in Business Administration and PhD. It offers four specializations, namely finance, marketing, human resource, and systems and operations. The Department of Business Administration is organizing this 5-day online advanced level faculty development program on emerging financial management and accounting techniques after successfully hosting the elementary level faculty development program during September 21 to 25, 2021. I strongly believe that our goal will be achieved through deliberations of a plethora of high quality lectures given by the resource persons from the state level, national level, and international level as well in this 5-day online advanced level faculty development program. I also hope that this 5-day faculty development program will provide a substantial learning experience to you and will certainly add up to your teaching content, knowledge base, and research interest. With these few words, I declare this Otto Academy sponsored 5 days faculty development program on emerging financial management and accounting techniques open. And I wish a grand success to this FDP. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence and for blessing all of us with your valuable words and formally inaugurating this 5-day FDP. Thank you, sir, once again. It's now over to Dr. Mukherjee for the next part of the program.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now I would like to welcome our guest of honor of this session, Professor Ashish Kumar Panigrahi, who is the Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of Burdwan. Sir, over to you.
Very good morning to you
Good morning,
all.
sir.
Good morning, sir.
I am on the way. So I am delighted to know that the Department of Business Administration of our university, the University of Burdwan, organizing an AICTE training and learning, that is the Otto Academy concert 5 days online faculty development program, advanced mode, on emerging financial management and accounting techniques during the period of January 17th to 21st January. For this academic event, I am thankful to the head Department of Business Administration, Professor Tanmoy Dasgupta, convener of this program, and Dr. Abhik Kumar Mukherjee, the coordinator, for inviting me in the inaugural sessions of this faculty development program. First of all, I convey my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nimai Chandra Saha, for his informative inaugural speech. Also, I express my thanks to Professor Pavitra Chakraborty Dean Science, Professor Roman Kumar Sir, Dean Arts, Commerce and Music, and other dignitaries present here. On behalf of the University of Bardhaman, I welcome all the participants coming from different universities and colleges of West Bengal and beyond West Bengal. I must welcome to all the participants, you all, and glad to know that all the departments under this university are very much active in arranging different types of seminars, workshops, webinar, faculty development programs, and so on. On behalf of the University of Bardhaman, I also welcome all the resource persons like Professor Mahendra Chakraborty, Professor of Great Lakes Institutes of Management, Gurgaon, Professor Ananda Mohan Pal, University of Calcutta, Professor Chanchal Chatterjee, International Management Institute of Calcutta, Professor Purushottam Sen, IIM Kolkata, Professor Shankarson Bosu, IIM Bangalore, Dr. Sunil Kumar Gupta, Managing Director, ICMI, and registered Helloers organizations, and Dr. Otul Siva, the Assistant Professor, University of School of Business, Chandigarh University. I also desire to express my thanks to other members of the organizing committee like Professor Pradeep Kumar Malik, Professor Devmalla Datta, Professor P.K. Tripathi, Professor Partho Sarkar, Dr. Abhijit Bakhira, Dr. Susmita Bandopadhyay, Dr. Abhishek Mishra, and Dr. Nirmal Chandra Rai. And many other participants, my dear students and other staff members. Since last nearly 2 years, in the pandemic situation is spreading throughout the world, and almost all the educational institutes are highly affected in their normal academic activities. But all the academic and administrative activities of our university are going on online as well as blended mode, respectively. This is one of the virtual mode of faculty development program organized by our business administrative department. This is an AICTE training and learning, that is the Atal Academy Punsat 5 days online faculty development program. Regarding this faculty development program, we know such type of programs are very much important for the faculties, how they will proceed in their teaching and learning process in the course of their teaching process. And the objective of this faculty development program intends to provide financial assistance to facilitate upgradations of knowledge, skills, and intend to provide opportunities for inductions training to the teachers employed in different disciplines like engineering and technology, pharmacy, hotel management, and scattering technology, architecture, town planning, and applied arts and crafts. It covers the areas of technical education, policy, new concept, methods, and techniques, financial management, accounting techniques, etc. Theory and skills development, motivations, communication skills, management, and other relevant issues to keep pace with the changing scenario in the technical education. Here the scheme is designed to enhance the teaching and other skills of the faculty and to make them aware about modern technology, teaching tools, and methodologies. It provides an opportunity to acquire knowledge about the current technological development in the relevant fields. It will not only promote the professional practices and relevant to the technical education, but also motivates the needed for the present day. Thus, faculty viability is the main emerging of the faculty viability in key domains to teaching, assessing, research, professionalism, and administrations in the pursuit to improve educational environment significantly and enhance the academic performance of the learners. Thus, the faculty development program has been considered as a stand-alone educational pedagogy in the fostering knowledge and professional skills of the faculty. So the topic is very much pertinent with the present day scenario. With all these few words, I wish a grand success of this faculty development program organized by the Department of Business Administration of our university. Thank you to all. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your encouraging words. Now I would like to proceed further with this inaugural session. We are coming towards the end of this. Now I would like to mention that we had three special guests for this inaugural program. Dean Science, Professor Povitra Kumar Chakraborty, Dean Arts, Commerce, Management, Law, etc., Professor Roman Shor, and Dr. Devidas Mondal, Registrar, the University of Burdwan. But I'm very sorry to inform that none of them could join us for different reasons. Professor Dr. Mondal, the registrar, is presently suffering from COVID symptoms and he has tested positive. So sir has offered his blessings. I had a talk with him yesterday evening. So sir conveyed the best regards and the best wishes for us to go ahead. And as always, he has given his due support. So thank you, sir. In your absence, I'm thanking you for providing us the necessary guidance and support. And Professor Shor, Dean Arts, sir sent me a message today morning that he has to attend a very important meeting of the College Service Commission, Government of West Bengal, as a result of which he is presently occupied there. So with permission from Honorable Vice Chancellor, I would just like to read out the message, the address, special guest address which sir has sent. Sir, should I proceed? Okay. Now, Professor Roman Shor has sent the message to me and I'm just reading it out. Good morning, dignitaries present, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Dean, Faculty of Science, Registrar, officers, faculty members and support staff members of the University of Burdwan. I take this opportunity to welcome the participants of this FDP to the University of Burdwan through this virtual mode. I have gathered that participants from all across the country has registered for this program and expect you all diligently to participate and have a very good learning experience. Like the learned and resource persons would definitely add to your knowledge levels and encourage you to explore new areas of study. This is the great step taken by AICT through AICT Training and Learning, that is Atal Academy, to encourage the academic institutions to undertake such online FDPs during these challenging times induced by COVID-19. I feel proud, sorry, I feel proud to inform you all that the Department of Business Administration of our university has already successfully hosted the elementary level 5 days online FDP on emerging financial management and accounting techniques under this Atal Academy series during September 21 to 25, 2021. This time, I wish the best to the Department of Business Administration, the University of Burdwan, for the smooth conduct of this advanced level online FDP and wish them a grand success. So, on behalf of the department, I thank our Dean Sir very much for his wholehearted support and for his blessings. Thank you. Now, we have reached the fag end of this inaugural session. So now I would like to invite respected Professor Rama Prasad Banerjee, Chairman and Director, EIILM Kolkata, to deliver the inaugural address on Indian ethos in decision making. So, good morning, Professor Banerjee.
Good morning. Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir. Now, sir, before we start your session, I would like to give the learned audience a brief overview or background of sir's profile. Now, with a rich experience of over 3.5 decades, Professor Rama Prasad Banerjee perfectly harmonizes academic brilliance with industry experience. Basically, a professor of finance and ethics, he has taught almost all areas of management, both in the context of transnational corporations and domestic organizations. As an international educationist, Professor R.P. Banerjee has been focusing on Indian spiritual values and spreading the fundamental message of Vedic civilization. He has focused on certain noble values like integrity, sincerity, honesty, truthfulness, cooperation, sacrifice, etc. for manpower management and managing enterprises in the business, social, and global context. Among his latest published works, the book on Art and Science of Management in the Digital Era, published by Sage Publication, came out in the year 2020. Sir has delivered lectures on invitations at numerous universities abroad, including Pennsylvania State University, Texas University, Austin, Texas Women's University, Texas University, Dallas, Tarleton State University, University of Tennessee, University of Kansas, Arlington State University, University of Hamburg, Germany, Stockholm University, Sweden, Northwestern University, Switzerland, Mingdao University, Taiwan, Pathum Thani University, Thailand, amongst many others. Few of the acclaims and awards received by Professor Banerjee include Education Leadership from BBC World News, received in February 2017, the Asia's Greatest Leader Award 2021, conferred by Asia One on 28th August 2021, Thought Leader Award presented by SEMA in July 2015, and Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan Award received for outstanding contribution to teaching, presented by Hindustan Unilever Limited at the World Education Congress Mumbai in 2012. So, sir, it would not be possible for me to say all your achievements in this limited time frame. So, with these few words, I welcome respected Professor Rama Prasad Banerjee, sir, to deliver the inaugural address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee.
Pleasure, sir.
And at the outset, I convey my regards, my special respect to Professor Nimai Chandra Saha, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Bardwan University, and Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, all dignitaries, and my dear colleagues in the Department of Business Administration. I offer my regards, respect to you all. I convey my regards and respect to all participant teachers and all other participants who have participated here, scholars and students as well. Well, this morning I'm going to discuss the topic of Indian ethos in decision making. Now, when we talk about the ethos, actually it has to capture the very basics, fundamentals of the culture. When we are talking about Indian ethos, it has to capture the basics, fundamentals of India's culture and India's tradition and thoughts. Overview of that has to reflect in that. I guess I will continue until 11:25 or so. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Up to until 11:25.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I'm keeping 5 minutes at the end or 10 minutes at the end for interactive question answer if anyone has got any question. And
Sure,
then
sure. That
so
would be great. Yeah.
I'll continue until 11:15
Okay.
with my whatever I wish to and I want to and I can make before you as a kind of presentation or talks. I thought of sharing a screen for some slides, but I'm keeping those slides on hold. However, I'll forward it to Professor Ovik Mukherjee. In case anyone is interested, he can. It would be at his free will to forward it to the person.
Okay, sir. I will.
I'll just begin with story of Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, at the end of it, after the war, the phase after the war is depicted in the Shanti Parva, the phase of peace. Shanti Parva is the phase of peace. Actually, peace was getting, established through certain new kind of interactions that was there in the Shanti Parva. Shanti Parva had started off with the kinghood of Yudhishthir. Kinghood of Yudhishthir captures the essence of the teaching and learning in the Mahabharata. Yudhishthir had the occasion and the chance to learn certain things from a very great personality, a highly experienced personality who is very widely known in our civilization, Bhishma. He was actually, very, 2 generations above those who are busy in the war. So very highly respected by everybody, both the sides of the war, both the sides of the war of righteousness. But then Bhishma, when he was on the arrows, he had to take, a phase. He had to wait for giving up life, which he had his own wish for that. And then during this period, there was an occasion by Yudhishthir to get some learning from Bhishma. And that was also as per an advice given by Lord Krishna. So there was a series of sessions between the Bhishma and Yudhishthir. Because Bhishma was telling that you are going to be the king, so you have always adhered to the principles of dharma, meaning righteousness. So now as a king, you have to follow certain basic and fundamental principles. And those are the principles which were coined in the functioning of Yudhishthira for the next few decades of his rule. And that's what is depicted in the Mahabharata very elaborately. And I'll just pick up a few from there. First, Bhishma had said that Ragya hi Bratam Utthanam. Ragya is the king, Raja. The Bratam Utthanam, the meaning is the role of a king. The basic role of a king is to arise and awake. Arise and awake. Utthanam. You have to arise. You have to rise up. Rise for what? Rise up to the situation and the context which is prevailing. Rise beyond the limits of the context and the situations which is prevailing. So first is the, this in English we call emergence. First is the phase of emergence. Bhishma had said that if you have to, offer a good way of managing your nation, your country, your people, then what you have to do is you have to rise above the context. Meaning, when there is a condition prevailing around, then you cannot be a party to the condition. Meaning, when you are taking a decision, when you are on the throne and you have to take a decision between and among, different quarters, then what you do is you cannot you cannot take side of any of those contestants and then offer a solution. So your impartiality has to be, inbuilt in your impersonality in the functioning. So the first principle here of the, king is a leader. So I'm talking about the leader's qualities, which are essential in, offering the best functioning and functioning which would fill the objective and notions of the nation and the context. So the first is you need to have an emergence. You need to have an emergence through what? Emergence through impersonality. So impersonality is something a king, a leader has to cultivate. Now, how does the leader cultivate the impersonality? Then Vishwanath said that, yes, it is true that as an individual, as a person, you have certain connections. You have certain connections in terms of your blood relation, in terms of your social relations, in terms of your cultural relations, in terms of your economic relations. So you have, relations with people in the world because you are a person of the world. Now, as a person of the world, you are connected with many sectors and many things, many people. But as a connected person, if you are delivering a judgment, or if you are taking a choice, and if you are taking making a decision in a particular context, then the context is getting denied by your personal motive or personal involvement in that. So go beyond your personal, personal domain, personal connections, personal identity. So the first principle here said is creating an impersonality in the context of the world in order to become a perfect or a near perfect, decision maker, or a near perfect leadership quality to be inbuilt in you. That is the number one. Number two, here said Jnana Karya Anushasanam. Jnana Karya Anushasanam. Now, Jnana Karya Anushasanam, when you are, establishing the rule of the state, and in the rule of the state, what should be the basic governing principle behind your rule? Is the rule for acquiring something for the acquisition? Is the rule for distributing something for the welfare, for the benefit? Now you have to decide what is the rule for. So you need to, like in our management, we try to identify the objective function first. Now here was the objective function as identified and as mentioned and spelled out by Bhishma to Yudhishthira, is that Jnana Karya Anushasanam, meaning when you are trying to establish your rule, you have to learn the art of sacrifice. Jnana is sacrifice, is a sacrificial fire. The English terminology of Jnana is sacrificial fire. That sacrificial fire is what? The spirit of sacrifice has to be there inbuilt in the leader. So the second principle that I have actually coined from there is the sacrifice. I'll tell you, if you go through the Managing for the Future by Peter Drucker. One of the among the last two publications of Peter Drucker in his life, the legendary management scholars and called management guru across the world. Peter Drucker had left the concept of management at the stage of leaders' ability to be a person with the motive and mood and the faith and belief in him or her of sacrifice. Now, what is that sacrifice? What does it actually mean? We know that in our liberation movement there were a lot of sacrifices of life. In that happens throughout the world. Everywhere in the world, people have given up life for the cause. Young people, many places in the world, the French liberty movement, which had caused so many youth lives. You know that black movement in America had caused so many lives of young and middle-aged, even aged people. And in India, millions of people had to give up their life to have, ultimate freedom in hand, either, from across the bullet or to the bullet of the Britishers, or within the social system, the social conflicts. So sacrifice is something which is very widespread in the society, in the arena of politics, in the national movements. But again, the spirit of sacrifice is rarely seen in management. It was introduced in modern management in the Western thought of management by Peter Drucker. And it is way back in middle of 90s. Drucker had published in Harvard Business Review the concept of the spirit of sacrifice for efficient, or according to him, the most efficient leadership trait. Now, it was actually originally, mentioned in our Mahabharata, Yajna Karya Anushasanam, which was mentioned by, Bhishma to Yudhishthira, where he had said that the king, the leader, should be a person having the, basic personality inbuilt upon the spirit of sacrifice. But again, a leader has a lot of responsibilities. So how does the leader complete the cycle of responsibilities? Dakshina vritti samyang tu. So what would be the social context of your responsibility? Dakshina vritti samyang tu. So he said, equality. Yes, you have to have the, eyes of equality. When you are managing a context, in the context, everybody is equal to you. You can't differentiate. You can't distinguish between one and the other. You can't differentiate one from the other. You can't actually have, spatial emphasis of on one and, disrespect the other. So you have to have the notion of equality. We have heard the concepts of equality in the modern era, modern period, pre-modern period, in the medieval period. The political philosophies are there, and there are other observations, expectations of samya, meaning equality. The concept of equality was inbuilt in the leadership model of Yudhishthira. And Vishwat said that should be your objective. How are you going to, rule and run a nation? And that same thing applies to, managing an enterprise. Same thing applies to managing an enterprise. How? Because when you are managing the enterprise management has to come to the level of your, accepting everybody as equal. And when you are accepting everybody as equal, so it becomes non-discriminative context. A non-discriminating context is so essential. Those who are into manpower management, they know very well. And now modern organizations have to be founded on the non-discriminative, basis of functioning. So, that becomes when we have the equality as the motive, that equality, what are the different types of equality? Then Bhishma had mentioned the equality has got different aspects. One is the equality of respect. He gives highest importance to equality of respect. Then he gives the equality of recognition. Then he gives equality of social condition, social position, or social identity. And finally, he gives the concept of equality of economy, economic equality. So 4 different dimensions of equality according to Bhishma, and that was adhered to by Yudhishthira. What are those 4? One is the first one is the individual respect. When a person is working with you, the person's respect comes foremost. You need to see that the person's respect is protected. You are the leader of a department. You are the leader of a company. You are the leader of of a context, of an organization of any kind, be a social organization, be a economic organization, be a business and trade organization, be an educational enterprise, be a health organization, be a religious organization of any kind. There, the concept and the spirit of equality, I'm sorry, it has to begin with the concept and spirit of respect to everybody. The leaders should be respectful to the people, even the downmost people. There was a conversation, and those who are aware of my book, Art and Science of Management, I've given the complete conversation in there. There were 3 people. The Bill Gates was there. Peter Drucker is, at the fag end of his, active life. And Tom Peters, now considered the greatest, management scholar in the world, in the Western world. Now, these 3 persons were there in the house of Bill Gates in the United States. It's, end of 90s, close end of 90s. The discussion was a, breakfast discussion invited by Bill Gates. And the 2 scholars were there, one outgoing person, legendary person, and the other person is, who is highly established currently. So now the discussion topic had, it was a very wide range of discussion. Basically, they were discussing what could be the shape of future of management. They were discussing what could be the shape of the future of management. They were trying to learn things from Peter Drucker. Gates had a objective, saying that the innovative function should be given the most priority, creative and innovative function. And Tom Peters, he is always in favor of the abilities and efficiencies. So he was advocating in favor of abilities and efficiencies. He was telling the most efficient is the best. Drucker had said, my view is quite different. Yes, in my, earlier days, I had these kind of views. But now I have understood that there should be a different view which we need to adhere to. And in the same meeting, he gave a reference to one of the scriptures in the world. The name is Bhagavad Gita. And there it said that there are 2 virtues which I have coined up from there. One virtue is known as, and he had used the Sanskrit word, Arjavam. Arjavam. The meaning is mere simplicity. Arjavam is mere simplicity. And he has used the concept of Dhanam. Dhanam is giving, donating, giving away, giving up. Now, Arjavam and Dhanam. He said, these two have to be the principles of basic central principle of management. What is this Arjavam? This is simplicity. What do we do with simplicity? A manager has to be very, very complex because the decision-making metrics, we know that when we come to a decision-making matrix, there are so many variables. You have to solve those variables to come to a decision. And the reference was given by Drucker himself. When you are doing a predictive study of the stock market, capital markets in the world, what are you doing? In the predictive study, you are using artificial intelligence, the neural network, and coming to a predictive model. And in that predictive model, your predictions are coming true below 40%. So, with all these enormous capacity of our doing the numericals and doing the assessment, we are coming up to 40% of the decision making. And the 40% of the decision making is taking us through so many scientific, technological, and basically mathematical tools for that, using computer technology and many softwares for that. The remaining 60% is left to our understanding of the thing. And he said, this understanding of the thing is developed once we have our mind open for that and mind is clean for that. Arjavam creates a mind which is clean, the mind which is simple, the mind which does not fabricate upon any kind of policies, principles, but straightway gets into the work and think, and straightway gets into the decision-making framework, and straightway comes to the context of the work and delivers the work, on the spot, and delivers the work, as the work deserves or demands for. I believe most of you know, or all of you know, that in strategic management, we have captured this kind of concept in the framework of emergent principle of managing enterprises. Emergent principle is what? Emergent principle, prescriptive principles are there. We all have prescriptive principles. Prescriptive principles is preordained. You have the methods preordained. You make the methods identified before, and executors are actually managers, are actually executors executing those principles at the forefront of the work. Here it said no. The world is heading towards a situation where decision making has to be instantaneous. Our decision making can't be, for long drawn, and you cannot wait for a long period for a decision making, and you cannot predict everything, all variables in advance. What you have to do is you have to have the decision making in a context which is available with you right now. So decision making in the context, and in the context, if you are taking a decision, your mind should be clear. Your mind should be clean. That's why he said that, Arjavam, Arjavam. That's how I have spelled it out, Arjavam. The other one is Danam. It is a, giving up, giving away, donating. Now he said, what do you give? What is that you can give? Identify. So he said, the workers, employees, managers, leaders should identify what is she or he having, which she or he can give up, can give away, can give back. What is that you can give? I guess you all know Milton Friedman came up with the triple P concept. the concept of giving back. We need to take care of our nature art, and we need to give back. So planet has to be a matter of concern. So what is that? Profit, people, and planet. Triple P. P, P, P. You earn profit. You take care of your people. But at the same time, you take care of your planet. Now here, another point that Bhishma had said, Arthasya Moolam Utthana. So, Arthasya Moolam Utthana, meaning the basics, fundamentals of your economic principle is rising up, doing things, taking initiative. I refer to Swami Vivekananda's call to the nation and the world, wherein Vivekananda had said, the divine identity of man has to be understood first, and based on that, you have a concept of supreme oneness, and therefore you create a model wherein you take yourself in the back, or you put yourself as the next. When there is a priority in your design of things, then what is your priority? You try to identify the priority for the other person first. Put yourself next. And therefore he had coined the principle saying, not me, but thou. Not me, but thou. I am not coming in the first to receive things. You are coming first. Why? Because my objective is, he had coined the verse from Upanishad saying, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramayaha. My objective is to see that the welfare and happiness gets spread and distributed among everybody. And I will expect participation from my people. If you are a leader, you expect participation from your people, not only to the extent, to the full of capacity of the person, but also at times the person shall go beyond or shall take initiative beyond. Drucker says, when a person is induced to go beyond, then you can expect the person to fill in the gap of the work and expectation designed by the organization and society, of course. So, a person has to be induced to give the extent which she or he can give and beyond. When do I go beyond? I wish to go beyond only when I am a part of the thing and that is also a part of my personality. I consider the organization as a part of my personality. I am not an outsider. Those who are in the literature, I request you to remember to retrieve your memory of Albert Camus. Yes, outsiders are there. Outsiders are there who are not a part to, fulfill the agenda in the most right perspective. Most people in the world are outsiders. People consider that I'm a worker, I'm a manager, I'm a manager in exchange of the salary or money that I'm going to get. I'm a worker, I'm going to get, for the remuneration in exchange of my work only. So my value is identified in terms of the value which is offered to me in terms of financial, or monetary terms. I am not beyond that. See, Indian example of Infosys, when the ownership was distributed and shared, had an initiative to spread the ownership across with a view to create a kind of integrity in terms of oneness with the organization. The oneness with the organization is the spirit of thing which Vivekananda wanted the world to adhere to, listen to. But again, this is very difficult to understand and very difficult to translate into action. Therefore, the world has preferred not to pay heed to that, except to quote. So what Yudhishthira had continued, in his own learning from Bhishma. Tashmiyat tat uttito raja kuryat artha anuशासनम. When a king is aroused of the context, then only the king can perform the best for the welfare of the organization. And I'm putting replacing the word king by the word leader. When a leader has taken herself or himself beyond the context and is heading towards a kind of condition where the mind is arjavam, mind is clear of the thing, is a pure mind, and in the pure mind he's got a sense of equality for everybody, and in that context the person has got an understanding that I'm not an outsider, I'm a part of the organization which I'm serving and I'm actually intending to serve. And in that kind of context, the person becomes one with the context of the work. You are not different. You put yourself as an element of the work. So you remain or become an element of work yourself. And that means you can't be separated. You were never separated from. How can it be? You cannot be separated. Then Tom Peter had said, okay, then efficiency will take what shape? Drucker said, yes. Finally, the answer comes saying that yes, efficiency is a factor, is a matter, is a spirit of the person, not of the organization. Organization has got an expectation for efficiency, a desire for efficiency metrics to get fulfilled. But the efficiency is a factor of the person. When back in the family, a mother is there to take care of the affairs of the family in the kitchen or in the family, managing children. Is there any suggestion needed by the mother to do things the best possible way? Yes, when there is a technique needed, when there is something which involves some external learning, mother has to take it from. But the spirit of the work, the spirit of service, mother doesn't require any other factor to come in front and teach the mother. It's spontaneous, automatic, because I'm the mother. I'm the mother, so I have to mother the organization. I have to mother the family. I have to mother the child. And if I have the spirit within myself, then what I do, I try to identify the best possible way how to get it done, how to do it in the best possible way. Because, as a mother, I don't have the intrinsic interest to, satisfy my goal. I have the, intrinsic interest to see that the goal of this child is met first, is, taken care of first. Then finally, Bhishma said, Anarthasya vipareya. When you don't find any meaning of your work in a context, then you become an element of destruction in the organization. An element of destruction is who? An element of destruction is that person who has deviated from the principles that has been developed so far, the principles that has been mentioned so far. So what I'm saying is these are the principles fundamental in maintaining a kind of situation, a situation of integrity within the organization, integrity in an individual, and the purposeful transaction of the individual in the context of the work and organization. And in that kind of situation, what happens is the person becomes the best person to deliver the work and deliver the work as per the spirit of the organization. Because the person has to have the spirit of the organization imbibed in. Once the spirit of the organization has been imbibed in, the person can deliver the best. One more thing I'll just mention, the Kantian principle of universality, when he had said Tariskaya Cosmos, that Kantian principle of universality is in our principle of this Arjavam. Why? Because, Immanuel Kant, when he was talking about this universality, in the same breath, he has mentioned also another point, which is the individual's purity of mind. So when individual's purity of mind is taken care of, then you can think of universality. And in the context of purity of mind, your personal bias and personal, inclination towards any doesn't remain. As a leader, as a manager, you function the most, you function the best. So friends, I said up to 11:15 I'll continue. I have many other things to mention, but I'm not going forward. In case any discussion is there, I'll take the discussion, or else then I'll summarize the points, after Professor Obik Mukherjee suggests. So over to you, Professor Obik Mukherjee.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. First, I would love to listen even more, because the simple way in which you are incorporating the thoughts which were there in our epics like Mahabharata and others, and relating it to management in a very creative way, sir, this can go on forever for somebody like me who loves to inculcate the Indian ethos and management. Because now we know what Government of India wants basically is that we as Indians, as future entrepreneurs, future managers, what we need is to bring again to the forefront the knowledge of our forefathers, of the ancient rishis, who roamed this our motherland. So we need to bring that forward and keep aside to some extent the Western philosophies, because we feel nowadays, after close to 8 decades of independence, that in India, with Indians, we must work in the Indian way. This is what I believe. So here, sir, the contribution of elite resource persons like you, who blend together the ethos, who I personally know regularly studies and teaches and discusses the Vedas and Upanishads and everything, and at the same time, your one foot is there and the other foot is in the classroom, or in the modern management thoughts. So definitely this is something which is very useful for us. And I guess this session, even if this is a very brief session, this will kindle in us the thought, the young teachers, the young researchers, and some of the students who have joined, the scholars, that nowadays management research, management philosophy should be taught not only from the Western origins, but even from our roots, our origins. Am I correct, sir? This is what is the need of the hour.
Absolutely.
And absolutely. Sir, with that vision, I invited you, and thanks to you that you always agreed to grace the occasion. Now I
And yes,
open the session to the house. I open the session to the house. Dear participants, my colleagues of the department of the university, if any one of you want to add something to what Professor Banerjee discussed, or if you have any query which can be ably addressed by Professor Banerjee, it's open to all of you. Any participant, if you have any query or if you have any observation on this thing, that how Indian ethos and modern day management actually should be blended together, and what we can do as faculty members, as scholars, to take it forward, because that is what is needed by the government, and that is what the education sector needs basically.
well, I will actually add one more point.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Actually, I guess, people are hesitating in putting points. I'll actually add one more point, maybe. Okay. Uh, that is a question raised by, I think, Professor, by HOD HR. Yes, sir.
Sir, good morning. It was nice, always nice and thought-provoking to listen to your deliberations. Considering these platforms, I was just interested to ask you, like, if we combine new economic policy, Indian ethos, what should be the specific topics that should be included in the syllabus of management, apart from a paper on Indian ethos, which we have to teach? Like in functional areas, how it should be incorporated, accounting, HR, marketing, and in general, what are the topics which should be included in the syllabus in order to make the syllabus more Indianized? So how do we include it in our course curriculum?
Thank you, sir. I'll mention, for my idea about it, and in fact, I'll share with you that I have submitted, document to UGC, to the chairman UGC, meaning he's the outgoing chairman now. I submitted 2 years ago. Now there is a discussion possibility on that paper. In that I have given 4 aspects of it. One is, the mathematical principles that we do talk about. For example, the concept of geometry, early mathematics, we have got a lot of treasures in that. Bodhan Sutra is the principles of Bodhan, which is, Atharvavedic period, which should be not less than 15,000 years old. And in that Bodhan Sutra, we have got a lot of, mathematical principles. Now, fortunately, these are coming up because, original Vedas are being digged out. This is one. The second most important, which is, but I'm not suggesting that because it's not fully flourished as yet. So it has to wait through a process of research. It has to come out. The first thing that we can have is the principle of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. This is an integrated principle of management. Dharma meaning if you are, if you're starting an organization, a company, you need to have your mission, your vision, your objectives, functions. On that you know very well. You are an expert in that field. And you see, when we are designing the mission and vision, you will find the concept of values is lacking. It was lacking. It's just only last 15-20 years people are changing their mission and vision statements. You will find the Fortune 500 India companies, they are changing their mission and vision statements. If you do a research on that, you will find there are a lot of changes occurring. Now, in that, so there should be a principle of righteousness in that inbuilt in your philosophy. And then the principle of righteousness has to have a kind of effective dimension in the work principle of the organization. Meaning, when we design the products, services for that, what is the purpose and objective of our, designing the products and services? Yes, profit is one of the motives. Without that, you cannot survive, you cannot grow. But at the same time, what is the maintenance? Meaning, how do you maintain the, organization in a long-term perspective? that requires your broader dimension, meaning that broader dimension has to contain the concept of nature that is there in our scriptures. It is there very, very prominent in our Atharva Veda, concept of nature. Yaha deva apshuhu ya asya bhuvanasya yaha aushudhishu manaspatishu tasmai devaya namo namah. That is the kind of concept, meaning, yeah, we consider everything as an endowment of God, and God is inbuilt present in everything, like, this water, this air, this, plants, herbs, shrubs, trees, everywhere. So we have a, respectful eyes for that. There are detailed versions of that, so we can have that. There is a Yajnavalkya principle of teaching and learning. Yajnavalkya principle of teaching and learning is the first in humankind, which is much, much, much before this Nalanda and Takshila experiment. Actually, Nalanda and Takshila experiment is the fragment of what Yajnavalkya teaching and learning process was there. So that is already elaborated. That can be, there in our, in our teaching learning as a process. Now, where does it differentiate? We can have a discussion, like, there are differentiating factors. So there are so many other things, if there is a different seminar on that, the ideas of teaching from our Indian scriptures and Indian ways, there are different ways. Apart from this, you have got direct values, direct ethical values, which are very easily depicted in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna has offered out of 18 chapters, there are 4 chapters where Lord Sri Krishna has spoken only. There is no Arjun Uvacha. Only Sri Bhagavan Uvacha is there. Of which the most important is the chapter 16, where he has elaborated on Vivashura Sampad Vivadiyo, meaning the divinely qualities and demonic qualities. Now, divinely qualities, what are those, and demonic qualities, what are those? In that, managing things like anger, gluttony, obsession, then there are certain issues which are psychological problems, behavioral problems. Those things are there, so we can include those things also. I'm sorry if I have taken more time.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you.
No, sir.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Definitely about knowing about this Yajnavalkya teaching, this is something which is at least new to me. I'm sure many of my contemporaries are not very much aware of this. We have been taught about the theories as per the traditional syllabus. So, sir, definitely, as you have suggested, in the near future, I am personally very eager to host something like this, where Indian ethos can be discussed in further details.
Okay, that's good.
And over here, I would like to mention that I know as the coordinator that this is out and out on finance and financial management and accounting techniques. But to set the ball rolling, I wanted something which is close to our heart. As when we say enter, and when we start anything new, we do a puja or something like that to call our forefathers and this. So here also, this was my idea this time, to have a special lecture on Indian ethos, to recall our past principles and everything from respected Professor R.P. Banerjee, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Here at this platform, I am officially thanking you, and you know personally how much we owe to you for every contribution that you make to our department and to me personally.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So now we are almost towards the end. At this juncture, I would like to invite Professor Pradip Kumar Mollik, Professor of Marketing, Department of Business Administration, the University of Burdwan, to offer the vote of thanks for this inaugural session. Professor Mollik, over to you.
Thank you, Obi. Good morning to all of you. Really, we are so engrossed with the speeches given at the earlier part of the session by our Honorable Vice Chancellor and Pro Vice Chancellor and the fag end Professor R.P. Banerjee, that it is very difficult to find the tune of the language I have to impart in the vote of thanks. But at the outset, I feel myself honored to get the responsibility from the organizing committee to give formal vote of thanks on the eve of the 5-day AICT training and learning, that is Atal Online Faculty Development Program Advanced Level, on behalf of the department. First of all, we extend our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor and Chief Patron of this program, Professor Nimai Chandra Saha, who has carved out some of his valuable time to be here and give inspiring speech to us. We are very much thankful to him. We are very much grateful to him. Sir has given us all sorts of inspiration in this regard. Secondly, we must offer sincerest thanks and gratitude to Pro Vice Chancellor and one of the Chief Patron and the guest of honor, Professor Ashish Kumar Panigrahi. Thank you, sir. You have also spared some time for us to inspire us by your short lecture. Really, we are thankful to you. We are enthused by actually Professor Pavitra Kumar Chakraborty, Dean Faculty of Science, and Professor Raman Kumar Shah, the special guest, the Dean Faculty of Arts, the special guest of this program. They are absent due to genuine official reasons. I express gratitude to them because they always stand by us whenever we are in problems. Several times, Dr. Devidas Mandal, the registrar of our university, who has been absent due to health ground, he also extends cooperation and help to us in many occasions. And I must express gratitude and to Professor Rama Prasad Banerjee. We are extremely charmed by his presence, his wisdom in the area of ethos and values is beyond explanation. His lecture today really has mesmerized us, and we are spellbound by his speech. Then I must extend my thanks to HOD Professor Tanmay Dasgupta, whose tireless effort to make this program happen is really praiseworthy. We must extend appreciation to Dr. Avik Kumar Mukherjee, who has been the chief architect of this program, who has initiated this program very beautifully. We extend our thanks to all other faculty members and officers of these universities. We offer our thanks to all the participants of this faculty development program. We appreciate the interest and enthusiasm being shown by those participants who will be listening to the valuable lectures and speeches to be given by the eminent professors in the field of finance. I rather extend my thanks to all the resource persons who will be given valuable speech to the participants. I extend my thanks to all the students who will be participating in this program, who will listen to the lecture. And once again, I extend my thanks to all the dignitaries and participants present over here. Thank you very much. Obi, over to Obi.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful words of appreciation for all those who are associated with this inaugural session. So with this, I thank all of you who have been a part of this inaugural session. And now I would like to address the participants that with this, we have come to the end of the inaugural session. The first technical session will start as scheduled from 11:45 a.m. So here we will end the meeting, and I request all of you who have registered to join using the same link just after a couple of minutes time. We will end the meeting here and we will start a fresh meeting. Let me clarify, the reason for this is because we are using Google Meet platform and the university has subscribed to the Google Suite accounts. We get the automated attendance records through the Google platform. So as a result of which, at the end of every session, we will end the meeting, and over there, the entry as well as the exit times of all the participants will be automatically recorded. So thanks to technology at the end for enabling life, making life easy for us during these turbulent times. Thank you.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Namaskar.